The issue of Islam is growing each and every year, or maybe I should say the problems of Islam are growing each year. When I think back to the 1980s, I don't remember people talking about Islam or Muslims except as something that existed in the Middle East. But a problem in the West? I don't remember people talking about it at all. How times change. Today it seems that the issue of Islam is everywhere you turn and growing bigger all the time. Most Muslim immigrants began in most of the West with seemingly secular Turks. Turkey had made a great effort to be more Western and secular, and it seemed that it had worked, that Turks were lapsed Muslims, sort of like lapsed Catholics, except Muslim. They might go through the motions, but outside of that they were secular. It was proof that progress worked, that people, all people, were becoming less religious, less superstitious, more secular, more modern. But in the Middle East, something different was going on. It wasn't in plain view, and most Muslim governments made great efforts to keep it out of view. They believed, just like the West, that religion was backwards and a sign of the past. They also wanted to be secular and modern. They wanted to be Westerners. However, the thing that was being kept out of sight was a religious revival, a rejection of the West and of secularism. And the thing that pushed this revival was the constant failings of political Islam, the fall of the greatest of all Muslim states, the Ottoman Empire, the carving up of nearly the entire Middle East by the European powers, and the greatest failure of all, the creation of Israel. Israel was so hurtful because it seemed as if finally things had turned in favour of the Muslim world, but instead here was a Jewish state in its midst. But worst of all was that it was European. These Jews looked European, and everything that they did was European. They were alien in a way Jews who lived in the Middle East were not. But the hatred of the foreign Jews would in time spread to the local ones, and when that happened, it seems that the Muslims forgot why they hated Israel, because it was European and alien, and instead it became because they were Jews. Over time, the complete and utter failure of every attempt to destroy Israel pushed the Muslims to find a new answer to the problem. They found that answer not in politics or modernism, but in Islam. Armies had not defeated Israel. Politics had not defeated Israel. Technology had not defeated Israel. What is more powerful than Israel? God. So they turned to God to defeat Israel. Today, this idea is called Islamism. Islamism is a fusion of political ideology and Islam, and it is the extreme end of Muslim thought. It pushes the idea that Muslims can only triumph in this world by returning to an earlier, and in their eyes, purer Islam. To put their faith in God, not in the world, instead to reject the world, its sinfulness, its hopelessness, to reject the modern world, except in those things that allow it to fight and to defeat its enemies. And as all of this is going on, the West decides that it will allow mass immigration without restrictions on people's race, ethnicity, or their religion. That meant that Muslims could come to the West, and with them came these ideas, and with these ideas came men who wanted to strike out against the enemies of Islam. This all happened as far back as the 1950s. That's 50 years ago. For half a century, the West has had to live with Islamic terrorism, and every decade it has gotten worse. Because while most Muslims who arrive in the West come with the best of intentions, that was not true of all. Things became even more complex as there were now Muslims born in the West who could not reconcile Islam with their Western lifestyles, the so-called homegrown terrorists. But of course, like nearly everything to do with mass immigration, it is a lie. This problem, and it is a problem, was imported. We have little common history. The people are not of European origin as the people of the West are. Their religion is an alien philosophy. It is not our faith. Their way of life is not ours, nor their customs, or their often quite strange clothing. It is alien, and in many cases, hostile. Islamism adds a new and dangerous dimension to our lives. Each day we may be killed or injured because our own governments have brought in this alien philosophy. Why do we even have to deal with this issue? Why are our lives put in danger? So that liberals can feel good about themselves? What a pitiful answer. the burqa, the niqab are all alien and, to be quite frank, offensive to Western sensibilities. Oh, some say they love it, but they're liberals, and liberals are great destroyers. When there is a terrorist attack, we are told that Islam is the religion of peace, that our objecting makes us racists, haters, and Islamophobes, as if we have no right to our own country, or even to our own life. Islam has no place in the West. Its home is elsewhere. To the patriots of each and every Western country, the presence of Islam provokes the same reaction as the presence of Israel does in Muslims, an alien people with an alien philosophy, and all in the wrong place.